because a lot of us growing up, we were not in environments that encouraged us to dream.
Yes.
We were not in environments that told us that nothing
Sure.
is the limit, you know.
Yeah.
So because of that, we learn to adjust. Kids, when they are born naturally, they believe that they can do anything.
Absolutely.
Nothing is impossible for them. But as adults, because of our experiences, we are the one who teaches them, no, don't do that. You can't go to that place. You can't go to that environment. You can't, people like you are not supposed to be in certain places. So because we were taught that, when we see kids or when we have our own kids or we see someone else who's saying that, I believe that I am more than this. I believe that I deserve more than this.
Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Mental Health and Motherhood with Boledi. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with us, for clicking that button. I hope you're going to enjoy this conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. So today I am joined by an amazing woman, and we're going to be having one of my favorite conversations, which is a conversation around upbringing and healing, and how that can just create a vicious cycle, and until someone stops that, it just becomes this continuous vicious cycle. But before we get into that, let me introduce my guest for today. Like I said, she is an author, she is a content creator, she's a social worker by profession, and she's got an NGO. She takes care of, amazing young women and just guides them. So this is a woman who wears so many hats, a mother, wife, you name it. And I'm just really excited to hear what she's got to say about this. How are you, Joey?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Listen, this is one of my favorite conversations, merely because I think we tend to undermine just how much our upbringing has a lot to do with the people that we become.
Yes.
We really like, you know how we played under the carpet, but we become, so much of who we become has a lot to do with our upbringing.
It really does. I think a lot of us, we think that just because we have survived, then it means that we are okay. Just because we see ourselves living, doing the daily functions, going to work, raising our kids, having friends, getting married, then we assume that it means, as much as my upbringing was hard, but it is not really that bad. So that is why it is so easy for us to take it for granted.
Sure. As you can hear, guys, she's already dived deep into it. But yeah, you know what? I want to just take it back for you, because I always am at awe of how, where you come from, and just the kind of mindset that you have, the kind of knowledge that you've acquired, and just the kind of person that you've become as well, and the kind of self work that you've chosen to do. Because you know how it can be so easy to just say, I had it tough as a child, I'm just gonna be, you're gonna get what I give. So I want to know what inspired this, person that you are, working on yourself, doing the self work. Where do you come from? So just briefly tell us where you come from, who you are, what your background was like, and what kind of a child you were growing up.
Okay, so I'm originally from Bilavila, Limpopo. Then I call myself Makoti wa Deep Kloof. So I'm married in Soweto to Deep Kloof. Yeah. So I'm the firstborn in my family. I was raised by my mom with my two sisters. Growing up, life was hard for us, We really lived in poverty. We were poor. We had days where we didn't know what we are going to eat. We had days where I went to school and I did not have lunch. I remember some of the kids will make jokes that someone is going back home and they are not going to eat anything. They are just going to drink water.
That is mean.
Yeah,
Sure.
Kids can be mean, unfortunately, So that would be my reality. I remember my mom was a domestic worker. She had me when she was fairly young, and then she dropped out of school because she had to take care of me. Then eventually she met my my half sister, my siblings, then they got married. But the marriage was very toxic, so it didn't end well. So despite growing up in such challenging situation, for some reason I believe that things are going to change for me.
Sure.
I was one of those kids who was always busy getting involved in everything. I was starting groups. I would be calling my friends, let's try out this thing. I loved reading from an early age. I loved reading. So when my mom came back with magazines, I'll read those magazines. I usually loved it. I used to read Africans magazines, you know.
Oh my God.
I think for me, it was about the inspiration as I saw those pictures. So I always had big dreams. I used to confess things that didn't make sense. I used to say, I'm a leader, not a follower. I'm the first, not the last. And I think it's because I was taking them from the Bible. So when I got born again, I think I was in maybe standard 6, guys. I don't know how to turn it to grades. I remember someone told me you must go back or go forth. So it was before middle school. When I got born again, it just changed me. Nothing really changed in my life. I was still poor. I was still struggling. But inside something changed. I believed for more. I trusted for more. So that really helped me in my becoming. I had this hope that one day I'm going to work and take care of my mom and my sisters, and they won't struggle like me. So that is a bit about me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I always appreciate you telling that story because, like I said, I always appreciate like just how far you've come, not by coincidence, by the way, but because you decided. And I think that's the thing about life. It doesn't matter what you are going through. You literally have the power to say because even the Bible says that, you know, the tongue can either bless or curse you. So you have the power to speak life into your life and speak blessings and you know, beautiful things into your life. And I think the more you speak such things into your life, the more you believe it. And, you know, by consequence, you start to act like someone who believes those things. So that is so beautiful. So that is what motivated you to just...
Yeah, that is what motivated me. And also when I was looking in our environment, like, you know, we had friends, we had neighbors, and I would see so much toxic behavior. And from an early age, I vowed that was not going to be my story. You know, growing up, you will see women fighting with their partners, women fighting with each other for partners. From a very early age, I was already saying that, no, I'm not signing up for that. I remember people used to say, but I love him. And I say, no, but you've got a mind. What about you? You can control your feelings. Yes, your feelings are valid, but you can't always be listening to them. If something is bad for you, you've got the power to say, this is wrong for me. So I was that child. They used to call me Musadinyana. Because I was very outspoken, you know, very gentle, but outspoken. If I didn't understand something, I will talk about it. I will ask questions. I think I wanted more from an early age, even though I didn't see it. But I believe that it was possible. And we needed to talk about these things. We needed to ask those questions. Why are you settling for this?
You know what? It was, I had a thought yesterday, and it was after something happened, something big happened, and I was like, actually, because of what we see, we believe our eyes, we limit God and his power and his power to change circumstances and situations based on what we see. So you know how God doesn't work with what you see, because most times and hence when something good happens, we say it can only be God, because he turns a situation that doesn't look like it's gonna work out, and then he just turns it around, and you're just like, what happened? So I love what you are saying, and it speaks to that, the fact that you didn't let your experiences and where you were, the environment you were in, narrow God's power, you know? Sure, that is hectic.
No, it was, you know. I think for me, sometimes I used to be like, what are you thinking? Why are you like this? What are you trusting? Why do you think that things are going to be okay? And a lot of people, they used to look at me like, no, stop dreaming. It's not going to happen.
Sure.
They used to look at me like, look at your history, look at your background. Where do you come from? And I almost believed them, because I remember when I did matric, I was not studying. My friends were busy. They were studying. They were cross night, all these things. I was not studying because I felt that I know that my mom doesn't have money to take me to varsity. So what's the point of me having this hope and wanting to go? So, but I had a plan also. My plan was that I'm going to go and work at the SAPS in their youth desk. I'll help young people. Then eventually I'll build from that. So it wasn't like I was not studying, but I just gave up. So thank God for who he is. I was selected. I got a scholarship to go and do a degree. It was fully paid. All I needed to pay was for my accommodation. And it can truly be only God, So that was the step that I needed in order for me to be the person that I am today.
Wow. Sure. Talking about being proof that God is able.
Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, I'm so glad that you are vocal about just sharing your story, because there's a child out there who's going through the same thing, and they need that hope, to just say that things can change. It doesn't matter where you are in life. You can absolutely have that life that you look at and you're like, you know what, I want to have this kind of a life despite where I come from,
Exactly.
You mentioned something that I want to quickly get into. You said a lot of people used to say "omosadinyana" or such remarks.
Yeah.
And I want to quickly get into that topic, since we are there already. How we've normalized saying things that are not necessarily positive, especially to the assertive child, to the confident child, to the child that just has this hope that, and dreams that seem far-fetched. Would you say that we may kind of not believe in ourselves, and we are somehow scared when we see someone dreaming, and therefore we project our fears?
I absolutely believe that is what is happening, because a lot of us growing up, we were not in environments that encouraged us to dream. We were not in environments that told us that nothing is the limit, So because of that, we learn to adjust. Kids, when they are born naturally, they believe that they can do anything.
Absolutely.
Nothing is impossible for them. But as adults, because of our experiences, we are the one who teaches them, no, don't do that. You can't go to that place. You can't go to that environment. You can't, people like you are not supposed to be in certain places. So because we were taught that, when we see kids, or when we have our own kids, or we see someone else who's saying that, I believe that I am more than this. I believe that I deserve more than this. Somehow it scares us, because, and it can also bring shame, because you are thinking, is there something wrong with me? Why don't I have that confidence? Why don't I dream like that? And because sometimes if you are not able to identify that the reason why I'm feeling like this is because I didn't have that environment, you can end up being jealous or bullying other people from a place of insecurity. So you really need to be aware of who you are, and be able to sit with those uncomfortable feelings and try to find out, why do I feel like this? Where is it coming from? And from that place, that's when you can see, when people are out there, when people are fully themselves, it won't scare you. Instead of scaring you, you will celebrate them. Even if you are not like that, but you will celebrate them, that I see you and I'm happy for you, because you are doing something that might not have been possible for me, but I am happy for you that you are doing it.
Wow. I think I just had an aha moment when you said it may create, just an insecurity.
Yeah.
Because then sometimes the people that make remarks like, who do you think you are, no, that's not possible, may not necessarily be, it may not be because they are hating. It may just be because seeing a person dream that big is actually creating an insecurity in them, like you are saying.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to approach that is the norm, the cycle that we are used to, which is to then try and pull you down.
Yes.
Sure. And if you don't know that, you allow it to pull you down as well, not knowing that actually going ahead and achieving those things could, just kind of minister to this same person as well, that it's possible.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, and I think something that we forget sometimes is that, when we are buddies, sometimes we bond over toxic things.
Sure.
Sometimes we bond over negative things.
Sure.
So when you start changing and you say, no, I don't want to be like this anymore, it can threaten me as your friend. What are we going to connect with? If that. Before we bonded through gossiping or through talking about how life is unfair, if we bonded over how other people are more blessed than us, the minute you decide that, no,
I'm part of the blessed gang,
you see, it threatens me. It's like, okay, we can't connect anymore.
Sure.
That's the thing that made us love each other. So if you are living that thing, it's like you are actually rejecting me.
Wow.
So we need to also be sensitive on how you deliver it to that person,
Sure.
because it can be scary.
I get that. And you know what? I can imagine, because trauma creates just that kind of insecurity. I can imagine how someone deciding to step up in their lives can make you another person feel like, okay, they are rejecting me. Especially if you feel like you don't have that kind of view about yourself. If you don't see yourself just stepping up or being able to step up. Sure. So let's just say that for someone who's a parent, and I feel like I don't have much confidence, I don't think that I've been affirmed enough, but I've got kids. And I'm genuinely just doing what I'm used to hearing. How can not healing from our own issues, how does that affect kids? Does it even affect them at all? Can I be able to, can I be able to give my kids a healthy mother without me healing?
No, you can't. You can pretend, but the thing about pretending, you are going to get tired.
Sure.
The thing about healing, we are not healing from the outside. We are healing from the inside. And when you are healing from the inside, you are healing also your mindset. You are healing your habits, how you do things, how you respond. So there is no way. You are healing your beliefs. It starts with it. What do you think about your kids? Do you believe that they are good? Or you believe that they are out there to get you? Do you believe that they are capable of making small decisions, or you believe that you need to make those decisions for them? Do you believe that they are born bad, they are sinners who needs to be changed, or you believe that they are innocent? And as they are growing, when they are making mistakes, do you see them as mistakes, or you see them as those things that you need to correct, and it shows that they have always been wrong? So it's based on your beliefs. So that thing, you need to work on it. If you believe that kids are bad and you need to fix them, there is no way that you are going to not affect them, because your actions, the words that you say to them, they will be speaking to your belief. So I don't believe that you can raise healthy kids if you are not healed yourself. Even if, at least if you are in the process, that is something, because you are in the process. When you make mistakes, you will be able to see, no, I'm sorry for talking to you like this. This was wrong. But if you don't think that there is anything wrong with you speaking to them like that, you are going to continue, and you are going to raise broken kids who unfortunately will have to do the hard work that you were supposed to do.
And you know what? It's crazy that I think there's still a bit of a division in terms of this whole parenting thing.
Yeah.
There's still a group that believes that gentle and conscious parenting is letting your kids get away with everything.
Yeah.
But there's also a group that believes that we are healing, we are treating these kids like human beings, the human beings that they are, and we are respecting them, and in a way we are stopping that vicious cycle that has been going on.
Yeah.
Why is it important to treat kids like we would an adult? Because sometimes maybe the reason why it doesn't make sense to some people is just not understanding. Because you know what, we've been raised by a generation that just said keep quiet.
Yeah.
No. So why is it important for a parent that feels like, okay, I want to do better for my kids? Why is it important to treat your kids like they are like you do every other individual?
I believe that it is important because they are human beings.
Yeah.
They are worth the respect. They are worth
Absolutely.
the love that you also want to have, So it is very sad. And I think it goes back to the issue of belief.
Absolutely.
If you believe that there is something wrong with them, that they are this project that you are supposed to embark on, that is why it won't be easy for you to treat them like human beings. What are we expecting when we say someone is a human being? We just expect someone to treat them with love, to treat them with kindness, to talk to them in a kind tone, using kind words. That's not a lot to ask. We are not, and I think people get confused. Gentle parenting is not saying my child can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they need protection. Love covers, love protects. We are still protecting them, but when we are protecting them, we are not trying to shame them, and they are not our enemies. A lot of us parents, we treat our kids as if they are our enemies.
Right.
When someone is saying, this child, they just want to get to me, they want to make me angry. That's talking like, it's like you think your kid is literally, they woke up and they were like, today I'm going to get my mom. Today I'm going to throw tantrums so that my mom can get angry. So it's not like that. There are kids who are growing, who are making mistakes just like us.
And they are learning.
They are learning. And part of learning is that it's messy. Learning is messy.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we should give the same grace we are expecting to get for our kids. When they are making mistakes, we should understand that it's part of them growing. And sometimes they will continue to make the same mistake over and over and over and over until finally they are at that age where it dawns. I'm going to use a silly example. When my babies were small, I did not wear white clothes.
Yeah.
The reason why is that I didn't want, when they are coming to me, to overreact because I'm wearing a white thing, like, don't touch me. It is very unfair. It was going to be unfair for me to wear white things around them, and then when they touch me with stinky fingers and say, these kids, I told you, they were not at that level. But right now, with my teenager, I can wear a white thing, and I know he understands that I can't touch mommy with that thing. If I'm touching her, I need to make sure that my hands
are clean.
You see, so there is a difference. Some of the things we are expecting from our kids is not on their level. We are expecting mini adults, and they are not adults.
Yet we don't want to treat them like mini adults.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's the challenge.
Sure. How unfair of us to do that.
Yeah.
So, but if there's just because of like how the information is coming in, what is gentle parenting?
Okay. Gentle parenting for me, it's acknowledging that my kids are human beings and they deserve to be loved unconditionally, whether they are performing or not performing, whether they are throwing tantrums or not. And gentle parenting is about me loving myself, because I don't believe that you can be a gentle parent if you do not love yourself.
Wow.
Because the love that I'm giving to my kids is the love that I'm able to give to myself. If I'm patient with myself, I can be patient with my kids.
Wow.
I'm going to use an example. I've always been big on academics. I've always been that person who wants straight A's and everything. And because I was very big on it, I remember the first time I failed an assignment. I was so traumatized. And the reason why I was traumatized is because somehow I had linked my value and identity to my marks. Obviously, if I'm hard on myself for my academics, I'm going to be hard on my kids. So that is why I'm saying it starts with me. If I'm gentle with myself, it's easier for me to be gentle with my kids. If I know that sometimes I make mistakes, I will understand when my kids are making mistakes. So gentle parenting, it's about being conscious of me first, and also of how I react, how I treat my kids. So it's not about, my kids don't eat sweets at 9 o'clock in the evening. They don't decide that they are going to go to bed at 10 o'clock. They still do chores. We talk about chores, but when we are communicating, it's from love. It's not from fear. It's not from shame. I think that's the main difference. It's not from fear or shame. I'm not afraid that they are going to turn out into something I don't want. I'm not afraid of their actions. I'm trusting their heart and who they are. They are also doing the same thing. And communication is very big. So I listen to them, they listen to me. I'm not dictating. That's the difference.
And you know what? I think transitioning from the traditional parenting to gentle parenting, the biggest one and the hardest one is understanding that you don't have to dictate. And like I said, once again, it's a norm. It's something that, you know, society has normalized. So it's going to obviously be very difficult to, you know, be able to get over that and understand that, because I mean, a lot of us parents would want to say, no, it's not dictating, I'm just being a parent. But it's dictating if you're gonna say, no, you know, you're not gonna do this, and then it ends there. It starts and ends there.
And I think it's because of how we grew up, as you said. Most of us, we were not given the opportunity to even know who we are. You know, it's very sad for me when I go into the workspace, how so many people do not know who they are. So many people are still trying to figure out what is their purpose. If you check, so many people, adults right now, they are always saying, I want to know my purpose. How do I find my purpose? And the reason is because from an early age, we were not given the chance to discover that I'm Joey. I actually like playing with sand. And the reason why I like playing with sand, maybe I'm going to be in construction. You know, I like asking questions, and maybe I'm going to be an author or a writer or something. So for me, it is so important, because we need people who are going to show up in different spaces.
Absolutely.
And it starts with how they are parented.
And as you are speaking and saying, making an example, saying, I'm Joey and I like asking questions because I'm going to become an author, because that is a true story. You are an author now.
Yes.
I'm thinking about how someone just going, every time you ask questions, just going, no, don't. And no, you talk too much. No, such kind of things. How that could have easily made you hate, you know, asking questions, made you hate, you know, just being assertive even. And then you give into just being in your shell all the time. That creates, you know, the kind of an adult who, one, can be a people pleaser, because you are used to just having to please the next person who is, you know, in a place of authority. And then as a result, you're not ever going to be able to decide on anything in life, because how do you become a person who's able to make decisions on their own if you had to always bounce
Yes.
how you feel and all of those things, you know, with the other person. And I mean, as parents, we are there to guide. I'm not saying kids should be able to just do whatever, but like you said, we guide with love.
Exactly.
But I want to say that sometimes as a parent, you could be doing something that is not positive for your child and not knowing it. So what are some of these things that can water down a child's personality, character, and actually damage their confidence? So what are some of the things, and what are some that you've seen happen, that you've heard being said, that we may not be aware of as parents and just be doing, but not knowing that we are actually killing our kids' confidence?
Yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of the kids I work with talk about is us not listening to them.
Sure.
A lot of the kids, they complain about as parents, we do not listen to them, but we want them to listen. And for us parents, we can say, but I'm the parent. But at the end of the day, that is not true communication. If communication, there is a receiver, there is a message, there is a sender. So both must, if there is true communication, both of us, we must engage. So most of the kids are complaining about that parents don't listen and parents don't trust them.
Sure.
And that is so true. A lot of parents, especially as kids become teenagers, they are always so scared. There are the horror stories, you know. All parents are happy when their kids are babies and infants, but immediately as they start growing and maturing, most parents, they will talk about, yo, I'm so afraid. I don't know what I'm going to do with this child. Teenagers, blah, blah, twins, you know. So kids are hearing our language. They are listening to us saying all these things, and they start wondering, what is wrong with me? So we are not listening to them. We do not trust them. And we do not talk to them. We don't ask questions.
Sure.
We assume we know what's best for them.
Sure.
And we forget that they are not mini us.
Yes.
You know, as much as they are your kids, but they can have different interests from you.
Sure.
So, and the only way you are going to know is to take the time to listen to them, to ask questions, to be interested in the things that they want to do, not the ones that you assume they are supposed to do.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think those are some of the things that are so important for us to listen, to ask questions, to talk with them. And I know one of the things we like doing is the why questions. Sometimes they don't work, you know.
Nah.
They don't work. Sometimes your kids will do things without knowing why they did it. So asking, why did you do that? You are just wasting your time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they really don't know.
Yeah.
They really do not know.
Like, think about the things you've done as a child as well. Sometimes you were just moving with the wind.
Exactly.
You know, you don't know what you are doing.
Exactly. Then we get angry because they are not giving us the answers that we think they are supposed to give us.
Sure.
So we need to find ways of connecting with them, creating that safe environment that allows them to talk to us. Our kids should feel that home is the best place to be.
Sure.
And it starts with us.
You know what? That is honestly so important, because I can imagine that all of those conversations won't be able to, you know, to manifest if it's not a safe space to begin with. You know how as a child, if you are going to feel like, oh my God, I made a mistake, I can't afford to go home, that already then makes the child vulnerable, because where are they going to go for advice?
Exactly.
Out there. And you don't know who they are going to talk to and what that person is going to say. So I love the fact that you're saying, create a safe space for this child to speak.
Yeah.
Allow them to sometimes not know. And I think that's the thing, even with us as adults. Sometimes you don't know.
Like many times, you really do not know.
You don't know. You know, you are just in this situation. You find yourself in this situation, and you can't really like put motivation behind, you know, whatever it is. And why not allow kids then to learn if they don't know? So I love that. You mentioned something, and you said, I think you said, about keeping quiet, or just not trusting kids. And as you were talking, I'm thinking to myself, if you are a child that is not encouraged to speak, you are a child that's not encouraged to communicate your feelings, what kind of an individual do you, especially an adult, do you become if you are someone that was not encouraged to speak about your feelings, if your feelings were not considered, if your opinion was not considered, if you could not even voice it out when you are not satisfied with something? What kind of an adult do you become?
If you don't become bitter, you will end up being that person, as you said before, a people pleaser. If you're not a people pleaser, you can end up have mental health issues, because if you're not able to speak even when you are not okay, then you are internalizing all these things until at the end you can just burst. So teaching our kids to speak is actually for their good.
It is.
In longer term. That is why we end up hearing news of people who passed away, and we are left surprised. Issues like depression, they start from an early age. They start when you don't know that I've got a safe space where I can talk, or I've got a safe space to ask for help. I can go for therapy. Because if we are not encouraging them to talk in the house,
how are they going to talk in therapy?
Exactly. Because they will feel like, maybe I'm complaining. I've met so many women that who are afraid to even say, I'm not okay, because they don't want to seem like they are complaining. Because when they were sharing that, Mommy, I don't like this, Mommy was saying, oh, you are complaining about everything. You should be grateful. The challenge is that even when you have relationship with other people, if you meet people who are able to voice out their emotions or their issues, you end up withdrawing, or you think that people don't love you because they are telling you, they are calling out behavior, or they are saying 1, 2, 3 is wrong. So even your relationships will be affected, because I believe that you cannot have true connection without honesty. So if you are not sharing how you are feeling, how are people really connecting to you? That is not real.
And you know what? As well, I think in saying, no, don't complain, because you mentioned a very good point there, that a lot of adults don't know how to, like, for instance, I am that person that is going to call a restaurant and say, I received an order and it's not, it's not how it should look. And it's something that, that has happened when I've been around people, and people just say, but do you need to call them? Just leave them. We think that voicing out, dissatisfaction is something that is wrong, and therefore, we are not able to speak out. We are not able to just be able to voice out how we feel.
Unfortunately. So, and can you imagine how far-reaching it is? It's not only about our families, but also in the workplace, in society as a whole. We end up being these people who are walking around pretending that everything is fine when it's not. And when you are not giving that feedback, people are not going to improve. They are not going to grow. They are not going to change anything, because they don't know the truth. And all of this, it starts with how we are raising our kids. And that is why sometimes, unfortunately, our kids are unable to compete with other kids. Because their parents taught them from an early age to be assertive. They didn't take it as a negative thing. While in our environments, we are telling our kids, no, you must
too much.
Yes, you are too much. Just, then when they go out there to the real world, they are not able to stand up for themselves. They are not able to be confident, because we affected them from our homes.
And you know what as well, I just gained back my train of thought. I wanted to say earlier that by not saying that it's okay to voice out how you feel, especially when you're not satisfied with something, aren't we creating toxic positivity?
We are.
And how is that good for anyone or for anyone's growth? Because I mean, if you have to go, I'm grateful, even when you're not feeling grateful,
Yeah,
how is that helping you?
it is not.
At the end of the day, you become, like we're saying, a people pleaser. You become a person who, how are you even going to be able to digest someone saying they are not happy with something that you could have done?
You can't. You
You,
can't
you know
because it will be like an attack.
sure.
So you will be like, people when they are around you, they need now to be afraid of your reaction. That's why I'm
Sure.
saying that at the end, you won't even be able to maintain long-term relationships. When I say
Sure.
relationships, I'm even speaking about friendships,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
Even in the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to last in your job if when you receive constructive feedback, you take it
It's
in
an
an
attack. Sure.
and also sometimes for others, they are unable to advocate for themselves in the workplace because
Sure.
they take it as a negative thing. So even when you are being mistreated, you are just going to
Oh
keep
my
quiet.
God.
And as a thought just came to me, that's the other issue when it comes to abuse,
Mm-hmm.
that if we are hitting our kids at home,
Sure.
and when we hit them, we say it's because I love you. How are our kids going to differentiate when a partner is abusing them? How are they going to know that this person, when he's
Yes.
hitting me, it's wrong?
It's wrong.
Because after he's going to say, I love you. And what is
Sure.
your child is going to remember,
Sure.
my mom, my dad used to do that, and they said it's because they loved me. So if this person is hitting me, is abusing me, and they are saying it's because they love me,
Sure.
that is how love is supposed to be.
Sure.
People who love you hate you. People who love you do that.
And when people love you, it's about how they feel. And if they don't feel satisfied with what you are bringing to the table, then they have they are
Right.
entitled to hating you, because it's about how they feel.
Yeah. So
Sure.
as much as I know it's the example might be too much for other people, but think about it that way.
Absolutely. Hey, because as well, I'm just thinking that it can quickly become a norm.
Yes.
If I grew up in an environment where when people were upset they would raise a finger, then I'm not gonna know how to draw the line.
Yes.
How do you then, the lines are gonna be blurred
Yes.
along the way, because remember, we are in our feelings, the unconscious mind takes over, you know.
It does.
So how am I going to be able to stop my mind from doing what I've seen being done when I am not pleased, especially in situations when you
Yeah.
are not pleased?
It's not easy to do that, and I think you can only stop yourself if you have started the journey of seeing that there is something wrong. And
Absolutely.
I just want to say something. I actually even did a post that you can actually be grateful for what your parents did and still admit that some of the
Yeah.
things they did were wrong.
Absolutely.
It does not mean that just because you love them that you
Yeah.
must be blind to their mistakes.
Sure.
They did their best with what they had, but you can't continue with it just because I was raised like this. We've got more resources. This is a resource, the
Absolutely.
fact that we are speaking about this.
Mm.
So I think a lot of people are afraid to say, you know what, my mom was wrong for hitting me, because they
Sure.
feel like they are somehow betraying their parents. But you are
Sure.
not. You can love and be grateful for what they did and still acknowledge that they were human and they made mistakes.
And I think that comes from the emotional maturity that is built when you live in an environment where you can say you are wrong here.
Yeah.
You can say, my child, this is wrong.
Yeah.
You, as a child, you're also able to say, but mama, I think here, growing up, my dad used to say, no, let's talk. We can disagree. It doesn't mean we are fighting.
Love
We
that.
just have differences of opinions. And you are allowed to have a difference of opinion with me as your parent. It doesn't mean because I'm your parent, you should just take whatever opinion I have and own it.
Yeah.
Let's talk. If there's something you think I'm doing wrong, let's talk about it in a respectful manner.
Yes.
And you also mentioned being given trust as well, because a lot of times when things like hiding and all of those things are done, we say they are done to teach someone discipline. But I've found that because my parents, I don't know where they learned that, but my parents were very, I would say they what they did was gentle parenting.
Yeah.
Because they would say, we are not going to be able to guard you 24/7. But my dad would say, you're going to meet friends. They're going to say, no, let's go drink. Let's go do. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with drinking for those who prefer that. But as a child, who shouldn't be engaging in that? Or, people, he used to say, people are going to say, no, jump the window and let's go partying, at that age, tender age. And he used to say, when you say no, the friends are going to say, no, you are boring, you are this and that. And he what he said was that because usually people aren't equipped for those no's.
Yes.
Because we are used to being, like we said, we become people pleasers because we've been taught that you can't say no.
He was so right. And that's the thing, like, I always say I actually need to meet your dad because he's the future and the present. And and that is the thing. That is why I say you need to create that safe environment.
Absolutely.
And in that safe environment, that is where your kids are supposed to practice, they're supposed to exercise those muscles within a safe environment, so that when they go outside, they will be able to stand their ground. They are not going to do it. They're not going to start outside if they are not doing it in their home. That's why they need to make mistakes when they're still with us, so that we can correct them and show them. Not make mistakes out there. Sometimes I say to my kids that some of their mistakes, unfortunately for you as Black boys, they are costly.
Absolutely.
Some of the mistakes that you will make, the world will not forgive you. The world will not understand. So I need to start having those conversations within our home, not for them to make that mistakes and for me to be called one day and say, here's your son. So we need to talk about those things in our house. And one of the things I say, we need to embrace the discomfort that comes with being a parent.
Absolutely. And you know what? Sorry to interject. I think a lot of times we run away from treating kids like adults or like normal human beings, because we are running away from the discomfort that comes with that the accountability that you need in that situation.
So we need to embrace it. It's going to be uncomfortable, especially for this generation. We are raising kids who are completely different from us. Kids who will ask questions that for you never thought about them. Like they will ask you in the morning and you're like, where does it come from? But we need to embrace it. We need to be excited about the questions. I say that the more they are asking these questions, we should celebrate. Absolutely. It should be a sign that we are doing a good job. We are raising thinkers. We are raising kids who are going to ask questions about why are things like this in the world? Why is 1, 2, 3? We don't want kids who are going to accept everything. We don't want that.
And that's the thing. If we're going to raise kids who are going to accept everything, how are they going to change the world?
They won't.
They're going to accept everything they come across.
Exactly. They won't. So we need them to ask the questions. We need to be uncomfortable and celebrate. Sometimes when my kids ask questions, I actually laugh. And the reason why I'm laughing, I'm like, I love this. I love that they are already thinking like this. Because I know that for me, during my time, I couldn't think like that. I couldn't ask those questions. So it makes me happy for them. So we need to embrace the fact that they are asking questions, the fact that they are curious, and answer. I know one of the questions, parents always panic when kids start asking about sex.
Yeah.
They need to ask about that.
Yeah.
We need to talk to them about it, because if we don't, they are going to go out there and get wrong information. So you need to forget about you being comfortable and answer. Be honest and answer them in an age appropriate way, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can't shut down the questions and say, why are you thinking about that? Does it mean you are thinking? No.
Sure.
The fact that they trusted you enough to ask, you need to give them an answer. If you don't have it, refer them to someone else. There's YouTube, guys. There are blogs. There are so many things. We've got resources. Yeah.
Sure. Wow. That's just, you know what? I think my big takeaway from this conversation is just being okay with the discomfort that comes from being a parent, because you're going to be very uncomfortable in so many situations, so many times. But it's not even about you and how uncomfortable you feel.
Yeah.
It's about equipping these little human beings with the right perspective, or with the right knowledge, so that when they get to hear everything else from the outside world, they already, and there's power in that. Like I'm saying, there were so many situations where I'd feel sidelined, and I'd even be told in high school that you're boring, you just want to talk about the important, or just the serious things. And the thing is, in those moments, I didn't feel like I needed to feel like I'm fun. Because I had had those conversations with my dad, and he had said, no, you're going to come across as boring, but it's actually beneficial for you, because then you don't have to fall into mistakes that, you're going to have to then live with the repercussions of.
Exactly. And I always say that as a parent, as much as we can control our kids for now, because they are in our homes, but the truth is that, as your dad said, we can't be there 24/7.
We can't.
So the only way is that you need to equip them when you are with them, and they need to internalize those values.
Absolutely.
They must be theirs. When they say no, it must be because Joey, I don't believe that. I don't subscribe to that. It must not be my mom and dad said this is wrong.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is by having the conversation, showing them the advantages, the disadvantages. I love saying that when I came to Joburg, it was nothing for me.
Yeah.
Because when I was home, my mom we had an open relationship.
Yeah.
I was talking to her about dating. She knew my boyfriend. She knew that I had a boyfriend. So there was nothing. There was nothing for me. Even when people were saying, I don't like clubs. It's a preference, guys. I get bored by 9 o'clock.
I'm the same. Oh my gosh.
By
I feel
9
normal
o'clock,
right now.
I want to sleep. I'm tired, or I want a break. So my friends knew that about me.
Yeah.
I'll go with them. I'll get bored. They will accompany me. I'll go back. They will go back. But it didn't bother me. I didn't feel like I was missing out. And the reason is because when I was home with my mom, I was able to discover Joey and what do I like doing. So I knew that Joey didn't like clubbing. So even when I had freedom,
wow,
it didn't traumatize me. Like freedom, it wasn't like, yo guys, I've got freedom.
5 minutes, let me use it.
It was like, I have freedom. I always had freedom from home, in the safety of my home with my mom. So a lot of parents, as much as it might be working for you, being in control right now, overprotective, but you are disadvantaging your kids. You need to allow them to know their no's right now when they are with you. They need to know that, actually, I prefer being indoors. Because when they leave you, they will want to explore everything. Allow them to do it now, when they are with you, when they are safe with you.
And you are there to guide.
Exactly, where you can set the rules, where you can agree about the rules that, no, you must come back at 6 o'clock at home. You must come back at 7. But when you say, no, you are not going to, when they find an opportunity, they will do it. And sadly, you won't be around.
Sure. And I mean, if they can't, know why they are saying no, and know their no's, and know who they are, how are they going to navigate? Because I think as well, it's a skill. You need to be able to navigate life, because life is very, It's very tricky out here.
Yeah.
You need to be able to navigate life, and you need to constantly be making decisions. You can't always be here on the phone, Mom, so I have this decision to make.
Yeah.
What should I do? So just allowing them to make some decisions, and also being okay with sometimes the decision, not like the disagreeing thing.
Yes.
Understanding that disagreeing is not fighting. It allows them, even in future, to be able to have, I think, just positive relationships with people, whether it's
Yes.
family, work, because then they are able to take no's, and they are able to give no's without personalizing it.
Absolutely agree with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. So what have you found, despite being a gentle parent, a conscious parent, what have you found to be some of the challenging things within motherhood?
I think for me, I'm raising a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So him discovering who he is,
Yeah.
guys, we fight about clothes. Like my son loves white things, white and black, but he's not watching the white things. So sorry. So he will want to wear the same clothes, and I'll be like, but why? Why don't you wear what? So there's been days where I need to understand that I need to let go.
Yeah.
He's becoming his own person.
Yeah.
I can't be busy controlling him.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other issues, technology, I think most parents
Sure.
get,
That's a big one.
So we had an issue. He didn't have a phone for a long time. I think we bought him last year when he was turning 14. And because of the lockdown, they needed to be online and all these things. So it's a constant conversation that you need to make sure that you use your phone correctly. So I'll take it for a week, I'll take it for a day, and all these things. So he was reading my book one of the time, and he was angry with me. He's like, Mom, but I don't understand. Even in your book, you said that you used to have a problem with the TV and all these things.
I mean, what a humbling moment.
Yeah. And I'm like, you are right. I also had an issue. That is why I wrote about it, because I want you guys to do better.
Sure.
The thing is that also as an adult, I know how addictive technology can be, guys.
Yeah.
Like even as a content creator, you can end up just scrolling J. For the J, it's not like you are waking or whatever. So I was telling him that I don't want you to struggle the same way. I want you to be in control of technology, not for it to control you. So setting those boundaries for us, and finding like us trusting each other, because it's a trust thing. You know, I need to, when he says I'm going to do it until 7, he needs to give me at 7 o'clock. Sure. And I need to be okay with it. And I can't change rules. You know how parents we are.
Yes.
Like when you are angry, it's like, bring my phone. I want my phone. I want my things. They used to do that to us when. So I need to be mindful of that. And also when he's making the small decisions, I need to respect it.
Sure.
And that is something that is new for me.
Yeah.
I remember last time with my 8-year-old, there was a time he was playing with matches, and he knows that I'm against that. And then when I came in, I could smell it. He's like, no. I'm like, it's smelling. He's like, no, mommy, who was playing with it? Then I say, he knows that we are against lying. So I'm like, Tiamo, you know that, are you lying to me? You know how I feel about lies. Okay, I'm sorry, mommy, I'm angry. Can I be honest? Everything in me said, hit him.
Yeah.
Everything was like, that would have been the easier thing to do, the quick thing. But I had to say, that you were not supposed to do that. And as per our agreement, I'm removing some of your things. You are not going to watch TV. You are not going to play with your phone. Yeah. The easiasier thing would have been to hit him, because
and in
hitting
the heat of a moment,
hitting a child, guys, it's easy.
It's so easy.
It doesn't need any control. Like the emotions just take over. Taking a moment to pause and deciding that right now I'm not going to talk to you, or right now I'm not going to discipline you. That takes strength. And that is why a lot of us, we will rather just continue what we were taught, because it was easier to do. Managing your emotions, it takes strength.
It absolutely takes strength. And what would you say, how would you say the impact of having to suppress them if you were raised the traditional way, and you were told no, 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 and then because I think the other thing about that is really a concern for me. We spoke about this with the live that we had with Sam, and I was just saying that how men are told that they shouldn't cry.
Yeah.
We do it with girls as well. What is the impact of that in that child and into their adulthood life?
I actually don't like it. Hey? Even sometimes I remember I saw this reel and I didn't like it. I was like, I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
And this child was being pierced. Her ears were being pierced. And then obviously it's painful, guys.
It is.
Then as she was pierced, she wanted to cry, but they were like, no, no, big girl, you are such a big girl. I hate that. Crying, it's normal. It's pain, guys. When you are piercing your ears, it's painful. There is nothing wrong with your child crying. If a child falls and they cry, it's supposed to be like that. Tears are there for a reason.
Absolutely.
So now we are stopping them because of our own reasons. And you actually need to check, why do their tears bother you? What's going to happen?
Wow.
Or are you somehow feeling bad that if my child cries because they pierced their, maybe I was not supposed to do it. Maybe they were not ready for it.
Or sometimes even just the fact that that's an aha moment as well. What is bothering me about this child crying? Am I triggered?
Yes.
Was I allowed to cry?
Maybe I was not allowed to
so
cry.
I may not know. I may be feeling like I don't know what to do with my child when they are crying. So it's best to stop them from crying.
And you are so right, because some of us, we feel that we need to fix it. And sometimes we don't need to.
We don't
sometimes
always
you
need
just
to
need
fix.
to be there and say, I'm sorry, and acknowledge the pain. Because it is painful. It is painful. So just acknowledge the pain. I'm sorry that it's painful. Acknowledge it. And that is also helping them and teaching them to know when something is wrong, and to say that it's okay. If I'm feeling pain, I am feeling pain, and my feelings are valid. As adults, we like saying things like your feelings are valid, but then we come to kids and it's like your feelings are not valid.
And literally saying don't cry is saying your feelings are not valid.
Exactly.
Because in that moment the child feels like I need to cry because this is how I'm feeling.
Exactly. So one of the things I had to learn was that my kids don't need me to fix things. They really don't need me to be their savior, to be the problem solver. Sometimes they just want mom to listen, mom to be there and to hold their hands and to just say, how are you, baby? I love you. Sometimes that's all they need. They don't need you to go and be Superman.
And be Bob the Builder.
Exactly. Because sometimes, even when it comes to school issues, or if they are fighting with their friends, kids will actually say, but don't talk to them. The reason why they are saying that is because right now I don't need that, or they know you, that you are going to go and cause a scene. Sometimes they don't need that. They need you to just be here right now at this moment.
Wow. Listen, you and I could go on and on for the entire day, but I just want to wrap up with the question. We know how hard it is to be a gentle parent. And we know the amount of then self-awareness that requires, and just the amount of introspection that you need to constantly be doing. How do you then take care of your mental health? Because it can get overwhelming and it can get exhausting. And when you get exhausted, it can be easy to fall into the trap of the easier things that are, taking something and then, just hitting the kids. So how do you then take care of your mental health to ensure that when moments of big feelings from your kids happen, they find you full?
No, you are absolutely right. I think the first thing is to admit that you are human too.
Yeah.
I think sometimes just because you're a gentle parent or you're trying to be a gentle parent,
Sure.
it doesn't mean now you have superpowers,
Yeah.
that you are no longer a human being.
Yeah.
You are still a human being, and sometimes you'll make mistakes, and it's okay. Give yourself that grace.
Sure.
Then ask for help.
Wow.
Ask for help. Like, we can't do this thing alone. We shouldn't do this alone. We were not designed to do this parenting thing alone. Ask for help. Sometimes if you feel like, I've got days where I feel that I'm tired, I'll literally say to my kids, I need a moment. I need a moment. Can you guys just give me a moment? I just need to be by myself. And I will say it in a way that they know it's not about them, but it's about me. I need a moment to just, just start, healing from whatever was happening, and for me to rest and be okay, So be gracious to yourself. Acknowledge that you are a human being who's going to make mistakes sometimes, and it's okay. Be quick to forgive yourself.
Sure.
Because I think sometimes that's the challenge, And when you've made a mistake, you keep on rehearsing it, that I did this today, I'm messing up my kid for life. But the truth is that when you learn to be quick to forgive yourself, and quick to acknowledge when you are wrong, and quick to apologize to your kids, they are going to be okay.
And I mean, you are also equipping them with just the fact that you're not always going to get it right. Exactly. But when you get it wrong, there's being accountable for your actions. There's actually making sure that the person you've had feels seen, feels validated. Their feelings feel validated. And therefore, that is just because I think as well, the whole perfection thing as a parent doesn't work. Because you grow up as a child and you realize that no, there are problems in life. As a mother, you're not going to have it together all the time. Then what happens if you were not equipped?
Exactly. And you are so right. I think because one of the things I love about gentle parenting is that by allowing yourself to be human, you are removing that burden. Because the reason why sometimes we are so overburdened is because we want to be perfect. We don't want our kids to see our mistakes. We don't want them to see our faults. We don't want them to see that we are humans. We don't want them to see us crying. We don't want them to see our weaknesses. And because we are always trying to make sure that they don't see those things, that is why we end up being overburdened. And by being overburdened, we end up lashing out on them. So but by allowing your child to see you crying, you are giving yourself and your child permission to see that,
emotions are fine.
You see?
Yeah.
And by removing that burden, you don't have to worry about, that child saw me crying.
Yeah.
Because one of the burdens that we have is that thing of trying to be perfect. And by trying to be perfect, we are always tired from all these efforts, like wanting to prepare the perfect dinner, wanting them to look perfect in their matching clothes, wanting them to sleep by whatever time because it's perfection. So all this perfection is exhausting us.
It is.
It is taking us away from being the type of parents we are supposed to be, which are human parents.
Sure. And that is an important one. And you know what? I must say that I embarked on just a journey, and I said I was recovering from my perfectionism over the past year, and just how that has allowed me to be, when I'm not able to get to something on that day, it is okay. Because then you hold yourself to, it's okay to have a high standard, but it's not okay to expect perfection in yourself, whether you are bleeding or not. And I think just really accepting that I'm human, and then portraying yourself as human to your kids, obviously with boundaries here and there. That is the best way you could ever equip kids for this difficult life.
It is. I absolutely, and well done on doing that. I know that it was not easy.
Sure.
But well done.
The other day I was working with my son. He prefers to come with the bus.
Okay.
Because he plays with the other kids in the bus. And then when I pick him up, he is a mess. And there's this part of me, the thing about healing, even though you're healing, there's still that thing within you.
Yes.
I literally wanted to get into McDonald's because it was there, and change his clothes because there's clean clothes in there.
Yeah.
But then I quickly said to myself, I said, I'm recovering from perfectionism. This child is from school. It's after school. He's dirty. He's going to get home. We're going to bath. So now I must put the clean clothes on him for just the distance that we are walking so people can see that I've got a clean baby. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
That was just a moment for me where I felt like, this is actually so liberating, you know?
Yes.
Because what is wrong with a child being dirty?
And a happy child, a happy dirty
A
child.
very happy dirty child.
Like, we want to see happy dirty child.
Sure.
You know? No, I love that for you. That is beautiful.
Thank you. It's been quite a journey and a half, but I'm trying to practice it in every area of my life. And I think the biggest one is accepting to yourself that you are not perfect.
Exactly.
Because you can actually accept it sometimes to the world, but you can still hold yourself to a certain, perfectionism standard. And then at some point, it's just not even healthy for you.
Yeah, no, it is not. I absolutely love that. And I hope everyone who's watching will get it.
Sure.
Because a lot of us, we do have it. And we hold it as a badge of honor. You know,
yes.
I'm a perfectionist.
Sure.
And it sounds so good. Like, I'm a hard worker. It sounds so beautiful. And then the unfortunate, it comes into our parenting because we are going to expect the same thing from our kids,
children.
You know, and when they don't measure up, it becomes another issue. Then you start blaming yourself that, why are they not perfect like me? What did I do wrong? When the truth is that none of us are supposed to be perfect.
Sure.
We are just supposed to be present and trying and continuing.
And that's all that matters for children, really.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming, sis.
It's my pleasure.
Sure. This has been so... I thoroughly enjoy this conversation. Like, every time we have this conversation, I don't know what about it excites me, but I'm just like, I love having this conversation because we need to raise kids that don't need to recover from their upbringing.
Absolutely.
If they recover, let it at least be because we fell short at some point, but not because we didn't try.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
I appreciate the work that you do. If you need to feel more equipped in this, get Joey's book. You have it on what's
Amazon.
Amazon. I almost said take a lot. It's Amazon, right?
Yes.
And you can also order the book from her page, from your website, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, or DM her, even get the book. It's definitely going to change your parenting journey. It's going to change how you view the whole thing. And I think more than anything, I now look forward to my children being teenagers because I'm not scared anymore.
Yes,
you know, so thank you
wonderful.
so much for offering yourself to the world.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Amen.
Like my heart is full. This makes me happy, you know.
Yeah.
For more parents to know that help is available out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure, Sissy.